Nate Bargatze.
It's a lot to have two dogs, because you got to open the back door and let two dogs out.
Big Dumb Eyes World Tour, Casey's Center, Friday, April 24th. Tickets available at natebargatze.com. Turnpike troubadours are coming to Des Moines.
Picking up barges on a long hot summer day. Well, good Lord.
Wild America Tour, Friday, February 20th at Horizon Event Center with special guest Randy Rogers Band. A masterful live show like no other. Turnpike Troubadours.
Gin and smoke and light.
On sale now through Ticketmaster. Produced by Mammoth.
Hey, it's Murph and Andy, and we love talking sports and more.
Catch us live at 1 o'clock every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on Iowa Everywhere.
And if you miss it, just go to iowaeverywhere.com. You can watch or listen there or wherever you find your podcasts.
Jake Brend and Derek Duke break down everything you need to know throughout the Big 12. This is Bigger Than 12, presented by WealthCharter Retirement Planning and Tax. From the Channel Seed Studios, this is Bigger Than 12 on Iowa Everywhere.
That's right, it's Bigger Than 12. It's Bigger Than 12 here in the Channel Seed Studios on Sunday, November 30th. Full disclaimer, we're recording this Saturday night, a little bit earlier or later, however you want to look at it, than normal. Getting it out of the way tonight because I'll be tied up with Cyhawk Wrestling on Sunday, so will Aiden Wyatt. So the last game of the day was at 2:30, and we thought, you know what? Let's do a Bigger Than 12 after dark.
And, of course, a damn delay in the TCU game.
I think I cracked open my first beer on Bigger Than 12 all season,
That's a shame. That is an absolute shame.
So I'm at 1. Duke is at like 75 for the year. I've actually got my WealthCharter koozie.
All right.
From their 25-year party, celebrating 25 years. That was at the start of the year. I know we were running that promo like last basketball season, I think. Either way.
I don't remember.
WealthCharter Retirement Planning on Tax is going on 26 years, and they bring us Bigger Than 12 every Sunday. We appreciate their partnership, specializing in retirement planning and tax, financial management. Tim Hawkins and his team know all of the ins and outs of 401ks, of investing, of taxes. If you just want to make it simple, they know a lot more than me, you, Duke. They know a lot more than all of them, so you should utilize their service in Ankeny at WealthCharterRetirement.com. We appreciate their support of Bigger Than 12. We have a jam-packed show following the final week of the regular season in the Big 12 Conference. BYU survives an upset scare. Texas Tech plays a game, to say the least. Utah escapes Lawrence with the win. Arizona wins the Territorial Cup. Aranda misses a bowl game. The Cyclones win ugly. K-State's bowling. Cincy and TCU play in the rain. Random Big 12 quarterback. Big 12 top 5 power rankings. Iowa Trivia, Big 12 Survivor, all of that, and of course, we're going to talk Big 12 Championship in there as well. Let's start in Provo as BYU got down 14-0 to Central Florida. This all happened when I was doing the Cyclone Fanatic halftime show, and I checked my phone. I'm like, what in the world? Turn it down. BYU pretty quickly regains control of the game. They go on to win 41-21, outscoring the Knights 41-7 down the stretch. Seems to be the story for BYU all season long as they finish the year 11-1 to move on to the Big 12 Championship.
Scott Frost got a little grizzly beard going on there, but the reason this one was close because of Taven Jackson. I mean, he was tearing up BYU's secondary early on in the first half. Had a pair of touchdown passes, I believe, in the first quarter alone. And you're right, they took an early 14 lead. And I thought for a minute BYU was in trouble. They were definitely sleepwalking in that game, and they appeared to wake up after being down by 2 scores. They got slapped in the mouth a little bit, and I think that's exactly what they needed to get back in this game. I mean, get this, BYU held UCF to 16 yards in the second quarter, went on a 17-0 run in the first half, and Bear Bachmeier was great. So was LJ Martin, who finished, I believe, with 3 rushing scores on the day. Outside of that first quarter, you look at the stats. I mean, BYU outscored UCF 41-7. That's how I expected this game to go, but it didn't early on. So and it's hard for me to blame BYU for that slow start. You find out on Friday night that you're going to Jerry World no matter what happens on Saturday. You're hosting a bad UCF team to close out the regular season. So I understand the slow start, but it was nice to see them kind of get rolling as the game went on and really put it to UCF.
I've got a good friend who's a graduate from the University of Miami, and he, of course, has invested in this game because a BYU loss helps Miami, blah, 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 blah. And he was texting me all week, like, is UCF really that bad? Yeah, they're pretty bad. And then he's texting me, oh my gosh, they're up 14-0. Any shot BYU comes back? I'm like, yeah, they kind of do this all year. They'll probably win by double digits.
That's exactly what happened.
And he just said, really? Yeah, they've been down 14-0 3 different times this year before today. So they go 11-1. 4 of those games they were down 14-0 and go on to win. This one extremely comfortably. I don't really have much else to say about it other than BYU did what they should once they got down.
Well, and you're not calling UCF directional Florida anymore. You actually did say UCF a couple times. I was pretty surprised at that.
Big whoop.
I mean, they were close to making a bowl game this year. Close.
Wow.
Close.
That would have been a massive accomplishment.
I think in year 1 it would have for Scott Frost. I think getting to a bowl game would have been huge for West Virginia.
The last time we saw Scott Frost at Middle Florida, they won a national championship, and now we're going to say that making a bowl game would have been some overwhelming success? How far have the Golden Knights fallen from grace?
Well, I remember, you might be too young but you remember before he got there, they were like 0-12.
Yeah, those were back when they were officially called Central Florida.
Yeah. No. It's going to take a lot for that program to get back up. They've got the resources to do it.
Well, I saw they flipped a 4-star quarterback yesterday.
Yeah,
so
they need a quarterback. That's just a program that's been missing a quarterback for years.
Since Blaine Gabbert, feels like. Or not Blaine Gabbert, since
Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles, yeah, sorry. Blaine Gabbert, Missouri.
No, they've had
BL, same thing.
They've had some good ones.
Well, we'll just move quickly past that because I want to start previewing the Big 12 championship before we get into all the other games that now feel less important. Texas Tech, I mean, they crush West Virginia. Poor Matty Van Winkle had this as one of his locks of the week. West Virginia plus like 17.5 or whatever it was.
That's just stupid.
That was
That's
a stupid
terrible bet.
It was a stupid bet. Texas Tech wins 49-0. Could have been 56-0, but Jacob Rodriguez threw a pick on the 1-yard line. The linebacker.
Oh gosh.
Baron Morton throws for 310 yards, 3 touchdowns. The Red Raiders run for almost 190. I don't really know what to say about this game other than this is exactly what we expected to happen.
100%. Does that mean his Heisman stock goes down with the interception?
Is that how it works? I think if we ignore it,
okay,
it might just go away. I know.
Pretend it goes away.
Well, I know that's how a lot of SEC media acts. If you just act like it never happened, it didn't happen.
Unless you call somebody a hoe.
If we just act like Texas didn't lose to Florida, or act like they didn't get taken to overtime by Kentucky, then it didn't happen. So we might as well just put them in the playoff. We might as well just do that with Jacob Robinson as Heisman. Why not?
Nobody pays attention, right? Unless you get called somebody a hoe in the postgame. No,
I was hoping we'd have a Lane Kiffin decision before we went on air. They said he was having a meeting at 3 o'clock. We're on air. What time is it? 8 o'clock? Almost
7:30.
7:30.
Well, it's 8:30 their time. Yeah. Well, the thing is with me, I tweeted this out the other night. It's just you think about his situation at Ole Miss. I mean, they're in the college foot. No matter what happens, they're going to be in the college football playoff. He's won 11 games in the regular season for the first time in program history. You just beat your in-state rival, and here we are talking about their head coach possibly leaving Ole Miss. Like that. That's just like the most college football thing ever. It's madness to me. But yeah, we'll get away from that. You're right. Texas Tech, just a total ass kicking in Morgantown. I don't think anyone, maybe outside of Matt Van Winkle, didn't expect this to happen. But I mean, they controlled the game start to finish.
I laughed out loud when I was listening to two guys, and I heard
you
that
don't
pick.
ever. There's no way you
knew that
bet
was
against
not
Texas
happening.
Tech. You can't bet against them. So no. And they controlled the game start to finish. I think didn't they rush for like almost
188 yards.
Yeah, 54 rushing attempts in this game. You could see what they try to do. One thing I will say about this game real quick, I like the fact that they weren't afraid to air it out a little bit with Baron Morton. 300-plus yards, 3 touchdown passes. I feel like that's one of the things that's been missing from this offense for a while now, for the last few weeks. Now that he's starting to get healthy, that's one thing I like to see from this offense. We'll talk about that later against when we're kind of looking at the Big 12 championship game, but I really did like to see that from the offense. And then, of course, defensively, there's very few teams that are better than Texas Tech defensively, so wasn't surprised at all that they held West Virginia to 0.
Well, let's just do it now. Why wait? Let's just talk about the Big 12 championship right now. BYU against Texas Tech, a rematch of the game that was about a month ago. Texas Tech won that game by double digits. We're going to see it again. BYU's only loss came to Texas Tech. Tech, of course, lost to Arizona State without their starting quarterback. So there's a few different ways I suppose we could go with this. It's what would be the best outcome for the Big 12? Is it a BYU win? Is it a dominant Texas Tech win to try and get a bye? Well, where are you going with this?
I think for the Big 12, it's got to be, just Big 12 wise, not for Texas Tech fans. It's got to be BYU beating Texas Tech.
Agreed.
And then that's the only way that BYU, it seems like, is going to get to the playoff, because there's
unless Auburn beats Alabama, and we're recording while that game's in the first quarter. So if Auburn beats Alabama, that complicates things a little bit, because you'd like to think that if that happened, BYU would be slotted up to be the next team in. But again, this is the committee we're talking about. This is ESPN we're talking about.
And it just pisses me off so much. And I've seen a lot lately about BYU and the playoff, just where they're ranked right now. It just makes no sense to be behind several 2-loss teams. We're sitting here talking about an 11-1 BYU team missing a 12-team playoff. I mean, make it make sense, for God's sake. It's mind-boggling to me that we're talking about this. And the other thing is, too, I was looking at some of the stats, even on ESPN. You looked at the strength of, I believe it's the strength of record. So it kind of defines your wins here. I believe BYU is number 6 in the country in strength of record, and they're the 11th ranked team in the college football playoff. And then looking at the rest of their top 10 teams, every team that has a top 10 strength of record is in the top 10 of the actual college football playoff rankings, I believe, outside of Notre Dame. So to me, it just made no sense whatsoever. If we're basing the body of work for some of these teams and comparing them, 7th strength of record. I'm sorry, not 6, but still, you get my point here. It's crazy that they're not even in the top 10. It makes no sense. So that's why I say BYU has to win the championship game, because that's probably going to be their only way in. If Texas Tech dominates or just wins this game, that's great for Tech. They're probably going to get a bye now with A&M's loss to Texas on Friday night. But something, you can't. You got to have BYU winning this game. Unfortunately, I don't know about you, Jake. I don't see that happening. I just feel like Texas Tech is just on a completely different level. And that's not to discredit BYU. To me, they are still, win or lose that game, they should still be a playoff team.
Couldn't agree more. And I think when you talk about the game itself, I know we've been victims of doubting BYU time and time again. Last year, this season. This time it feels justified, though, because we already saw that game.
Yes.
We saw Texas Tech make BYU look like an above-average team. And that doesn't have anything to do with BYU. That has everything to do with Texas Tech, the resources they've put into their roster, the way they're coached by Joey McGuire. They are a really, really good team. And if Ohio State just got suspended or something from the college football playoff, couldn't play, if we're doing a hypothetical, if Ohio State didn't exist, Texas Tech, I think, would have as good of a shot as anybody to go win the national championship.
Agreed.
And that's why I think they're going to probably beat BYU by double digits. And in all likelihood, we'll leave the Big 12 with one team in the college football playoff.
We went from like talking about 3 schools getting in. Now it's like, it seems like it's 95% chance it's going to be one school.
And there are 3 teams in this conference that I think are no doubt top 12 teams in the country. And
Utah, yeah.
There's probably going to be one of those teams getting in. Which sucks.
The fact that Utah got dropped after barely beating Kansas State I didn't understand that either. And then you move Miami ahead of them when Miami that week, I believe, beat Virginia Tech, who, if you're like looking at the FPI rankings, like Kansas State was 20 spots ahead, I believe, of Virginia Tech. So I don't see how the committee goes, yeah, you know what, this double-digit win over Virginia Tech's better than Utah's win over Kansas State.
One U means more than the other U. That's all this is. It's a TV product. I was watching the Oklahoma game against LSU, which if they lost that could have really made things interesting. And they were really close to losing that game. At one point, a graphic popped up on the screen. With a loss, Oklahoma has only a 41% chance of making the college football playoff. What are you talking about? How do they have any chance of making the playoff if they lost at home to LSU? This is nonsense. It's rigged. It's a TV product, and I'm sick of it. I am sick of it because if Oklahoma lost that game to finish 9-3 with a loss to Texas, how are they going to be ahead of Texas in the college football playoff? It's because these computers are manipulated by SEC bias. They're manipulated by ESPN. And it's happening right in front of us. Someone has to advocate for it. And I know our voices are quiet, maybe not in the state of Iowa, but in the grand scheme of things, our voices are quiet. But my gosh, how is that even possible? And I'm mad at something that didn't even happen, but it really perplexed me in the moment.
Well, what's the first thing you heard about when Texas beat Texas A&M on Friday night? It's Texas should be in the playoff. They got to be in the playoff. Look at their wins. And nobody talks about their losses.
Well, now you've got Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah.
What would be the term? He's almost like self-pitying the entire country, be like, well, if we're not getting in the playoff, we're never playing another Power 5 team ever in the non-conference. Do you guys still want to see teams like Michigan and Texas play? Well, you have to put us in the playoff. Guess what, Texas? Regardless of if you lost to Ohio State or if you played Akron, as long as you took care of business against Florida, you would be in the playoff. Yep. This is not about you losing to Ohio State at all. If you lose one score to Ohio State and you go and take care of business like you should have in the SEC, you would be in. This is just as much about losing in Gainesville, getting blown out by Georgia, going to overtime with Kentucky and Mississippi State as it is staying with competitive against Ohio State. My gosh, I'm worked up on a Saturday night. We should do more of these shows.
It's probably not good for either one of our blood pressures, but I think we'll be all right.
I'm glad I've got this WealthCharter Retirement Planning and Tax koozie to keep my beer cold.
Now we had to talk about playoff because it's going to be the hot topic. It's going to be the hot topic over the next few days, and then leading into the Big 12 championship game. I think you could almost make an argument, since BYU and Texas Tech have already played, that the playoff storyline is going to be by far the biggest thing with the Big 12 this week after the game, then of course on Selection Sunday.
Well,
and that's probably wrong to say, but that's kind of where my mind's already how it's working right now.
A whole different aspect of this. It's clearly not a playing game. It's a playing game for BYU. It's not a playing game for Tech.
Yep.
They're in no matter what. If somehow they didn't get in, this podcast would go scorched earth. But besides the point, it's not just the Big 12. The ACC this year is a playing game, we think, for the most part. But the SEC, another Georgia-Alabama rematch on the way. Ugh, who cares? Not watching that. And then you've got number 1 versus number 2, Ohio State, Indiana. Can you imagine how big of a game this would have been a decade ago? Now it's like,
huge.
I don't know. Is Ohio State going to rest their starters? Well, why do they need another Big Ten championship? They want to go win a national championship. It's a little different because it's Indiana. Indiana isn't there ever. They don't do this often. They're probably going to have a little more to play for, and that's why even if this point spread comes out at 10 points or something, I would play Indiana because they probably do have a little bit more of that edge. But regardless, if either of those teams go out and lose by 17, they're still going to get a bye. What is there to play for? Why are we playing the game?
Yeah, it's a conversation to be had down the road, I think, with championship weekend and then getting in the playoff. Because for some teams, it really doesn't matter outside of you just saying I won the conference.
But at the same time, you have to crown a champion.
Yep.
Because you just have to. Like, what are we doing if we don't crown these champions anymore? And you can't crown a champion the right way, like the Big 12 used to be able to do it, with a round robin each year, because there's 25 teams in every conference. We are so broken.
Yep.
We are so unbelievably broken. Aiden Wyatt says in the chat that Ohio State opens up as 6.5-point favorites over Indiana. Aiden, could you check on what the spread would be for the Big 12 championship, the early line? I'm going to guess it's probably Tech 12.5, something like that.
10. I'd say 10.
Yeah, somewhere in that range.
It might be more.
Well, speaking of picks, we're not going to pick games today because we're done with the regular season, but I finished the year at 42-27 after a 3-2 week. And Duke, my gosh, dude, what happened? You were 38-24 last week, and now you're 38-29. You went 0-5?
I just
a couple of our listeners said that, okay, I haven't really followed any of your guys' picks this week, but I'm riding with Duke the final week of the regular season.
Please tell me somebody actually said that.
No, I'm just messing with you.
Oh, thank God.
I hope that'd be hilarious.
Oh my God, they would probably send me hate mail all week. They probably want to burn my house down.
Their kids are not going to college anymore. I can tell you that much.
I look at it like this. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you. I had a shit week. Unfortunately, I don't have a towel around here to clean up the mess I made. But still, I still finished over 500. Picking, like, I don't think people realize how hard picking the Big 12 is.
We both had a really
so
good
damn hard.
We both had a really good year.
You still won money. If you played all of our picks, you still came out on top, probably with a couple $100 in your pocket.
Texas Tech, early, favored by 11.5. So split the difference between us.
Is that going to be the biggest point spread for the Power Four? It's got to be, right?
I mean, I don't know who's playing in the ACC. If Duke somehow sneaks in, which I don't think is a possibility at this point, maybe whoever plays Duke. But yeah, I can't imagine any of the others will beat double digits. If we've got Georgia, Alabama, that'll be a 3.5-point spread. So
for sure.
All I know is I'm going to be probably more interested in Iowa State Purdue at 11 a.m. than the Big 12 championship. I'm
going to be there.
That's not my disdain for anything. It's more so just it doesn't feel like it. One, it doesn't feel like BYU has that much of a chance, which maybe that's wrong on me to say. And two, it just doesn't feel like it matters a ton because Texas Tech doesn't have a ton to play for other than pride of a Big 12 championship, which I hate to say because I'm the guy who comes on here and says every week that we need to care about what happens week to week in college football. But the virus and the plague of this stupid frickin' 12-team playoff has ruined that.
I still care about the game.
Should we move on?
Tech can get a bye, so I'll be there. I'll be in Dallas next week.
But does Tech want to buy that? Like, that's the whole other thing is we don't know at this point. Or would you rather get a home game against James Madison, win by 50, give your fans the time of their lives, and then you're warmed up to go play a game the next week? I don't know.
No, you want the first round bye. you're one step closer.
We've got plenty of time to talk about that. All right, now to the quote-unquote less meaningful games, which don't come at me with that because every game matters in college football. You get 12 of them a year. Utah escapes Kansas. 31-21 this game was close. Kansas was driving in the third quarter, or maybe it was the fourth quarter, and Jalen Daniels threw a pick six that was not on him. It was not on him at all. Cam Pickett should have been he should have been looking for the ball and wasn't. Utah goes the other way. They hold on to win 31-21.
Yeah, another Kansas team, another close call for Utah. I mean, they had me worried there for a bit, and it's hard to blame the Utes here. I call it a sleepy 11 a.m. kickoff on a Black Friday, which can everyone agree it's the worst time slot in the history of mankind? Like,
oh, yeah.
Has there ever been a sold-out 11 a.m. kickoff on a Black Friday in the history of the Big 12? It's so
Why do you think
stupid.
they put Iowa, Nebraska there?
It's so terrible. And I mean, speaking of stupid, like the slate and the kickoff times we had this weekend in the Big 12 was maybe the worst I have ever seen.
Don't get me started.
Do not get me started. 8 seasons of covering the Big 12, it's been terrible. But as for the game itself, like Utah was very close to blowing it all. And they have a lot to play for, still trying to get into the playoff. I mean, going to the fourth quarter, I believe Kansas led this game, 14-10, and Utah's offense was kind of just asleep at the wheel for the first 3 quarters. And then Kansas, I'll give them credit, they took away Utah's run game, which is something I certainly didn't see coming. But Utah suddenly woke up, outscored Kansas 21-7. They opened up the fourth quarter with a score, and you're right. I think that pick six, it wasn't on Jalen Daniels, but that was definitely a game-changing moment for sure, without a doubt in my mind, in that game, because Kansas went back down the field, scored again. Utah, I think, iced the game with a big pass. So without that interception, I would have been very curious to see how this one played out, maybe even went in overtime, because I'll give credit to Kansas. They moved the ball pretty well. But unfortunately for them, I mean, this is another lost season with Jalen Daniels. Back-to-back, 5-win seasons for Kansas. So it just feels so weird in Lawrence. I mean, we're talking about this guy a couple years ago being the Big 12 Player of the Year. Kansas is this program on the rise, and now you miss a bowl game back-to-back years with Jalen Daniels as your quarterback. So something just doesn't feel right there. And then, for Utah, it's a 10-win season, man. I don't know if they're going to make the playoff. They should make the playoff. As you said earlier, they are a top 12 team in the country without a doubt in my mind. So a 10-win season in the Big 12 is nothing to look past.
Did you see this? Jalen Daniels, in 6 years, leaves Kansas with 3 wins over bowl-eligible Big 12 teams.
Oh, that's rough. I did see that. That's rough. That's really bad.
Granted, that takes out a lot of the success that Jason Bean had in the 2023 season, and
which was our best season.
But this kind of goes off of what we said last week. Just feels like Kansas is ready for something fresh. I don't think that's a coaching change. I think you're dumb if you say it should be a coaching change. But at the same time, it does kind of feel like 61-year-old Lance Leipold has maybe stagnated a little bit. And I don't know if that comes in the form of a new quarterback, a new offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, but they need to change something, because back-to-back 5 and 7 seasons is not how you build momentum coming off of that 9-win season just 2 years ago in 2023.
Yeah, for sure. I think they just need to change a quarterback, and I'm curious to see what they look like next year.
I don't know if they'll go. I would guess they go to the portal. I know they're pretty well funded. I don't know who they've got behind Daniels, so we'll keep an eye on that.
Ballard still, I believe, is his name.
Yeah, he had a perfect day at Jack Trice Stadium last week through one pass, one touchdown.
Yeah.
Arizona wins the Territorial Cup in Tempe in a game that they really dominated. Like they should have been up a lot more than they were at some points throughout this game, and they still went on to win 23-7. The first quarter, it looked like Arizona could do whatever they wanted on offense, and Arizona State couldn't move the ball but Arizona fumbled at one point. They had a bad turnover on downs. And sure enough, this game was a game at halftime. I mean, Arizona State was up 7-3, and Arizona kind of continued that ball control domination and really took control in the fourth quarter to win this one 23-7 and finish the season at 9-3.
Yeah, of course, as soon as I started bragging about Arizona State last week, they just get their ass kicked. And, as crazy as it sounds, I mean, Arizona State still had a chance to getting to Jerry World this weekend. I mean, but you really couldn't tell that by the way they played. I mean, against Colorado, Arizona State won despite the poor play of Jeff Sims, and that just wasn't the case in this game. Sims definitely looked more and more like a backup in this one. He goes out Friday night, puts up this stat line, 3 interceptions and 44% completion percentage on his passes. That's terrible. I mean, Arizona was not scared of his arm at all. I thought they really forced him to throw it, and it really paid off for them. And I don't think Arizona's offense necessarily played that great either. Like, I knew it was going to be a struggle to score points in this game. I think I had Arizona rush for 2 yards per carry, but they were 50% on third down on their conversion rate. So I didn't really think these two teams were that different. But when one of them turns the ball over 5 times, like, you're going to lose 99 times out of 100. And Arizona State, to me, just did everything they needed to do to lose this game and not win it, which is very unlike a Kenny Dillingham coach team to me. So, and I mean, here we are. I mean, I thought about this too after the game. Arizona just won their 9th game of the year, just like we all predicted, right? And Arizona State's going to be sitting at home during conference championship weekend, like we all predicted as well. So just kind of a weird season for both of these teams in both a good and a bad way.
Well, that's going to be my carbless, refreshing take. Both ways. For Arizona and for Arizona State. Carbless, your premium handcrafted cocktails. I'm not going to lie, I was going to drink a carbless tonight on the show, but I was snowed in, and I have not gotten out to shovel yet. I might do that after this show tonight, so I can wake up bright and early to get to Hilton Coliseum. So I'm sorry, I would have loved to have a carbless right now. So refreshing, and it would taste really good locked in your home. So you should go and do that the next time you get out of the house. Only drive if you need to. It sucks outside if you're in the state of Iowa. But my refreshing take is things are never as poor as they seem, for the most part. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's bad. But for Brent Brennan, I was a big hater last year. If you've been a day one listener of Bigger Than 12, I had a lot of Arizona stock last year, mainly because of Tetero McMillan and Noah Fafita. And the roster outside of those guys was not good at all. It just wasn't. And that wasn't on Brennan because he had to take over the job late. This year, he got his own guys, and he has developed so many guys into his system already. And this is really year 1.5 of the Brent Brennan era because of what I said before, that they didn't really have a deck in their favor year 1. And this is what they did in year 2. Let me just read off what they accomplished. They beat their rival on their home turf, destroy them, destroy Baylor, win a crazy game at Cincinnati. They beat Kansas State to start the year. Like, those are some pretty good wins. They lose to an 11-1 BYU in double overtime at home. They lose on a last-second field goal at Houston, who also went on to win 9 games. And they got blown out by an Iowa State team that was humming at the time. That's a really good Arizona team, and I'm really intrigued to see where they go heading into next season because Noah Fafita does have another year. He's playing at a really high level at this point. I'm impressed with Brennan's coaching job, and it got to the point at the end of the year where they were kind of just a team I wanted to bet on each week because I felt super confident that they were going to be well coached, they were going to play hard, and that they weren't going to play down to their competition. And I thought they were better than a Jeff Sims Arizona State team, and they completely proved that on Friday night. Black Friday.
Yeah, and how about just the fact that you think about some of the additions that we've had, in recent years with the Big 12. You get BYU and Utah coming out of the great state of Utah, and then you get Arizona and Arizona State. It's like all these programs are kind of starting to find their stride in the conference, and that's really, really good to see and really, really good for the conference. to make these additions because it just makes your depth just that much better week in and week out.
Want to talk about our boy Dave Aranda?
I really don't.
Why not? Why'd you bet on Dave Aranda for your picks? Like you come on here, you want everyone to feel bad for you. Oh my, I only went 0-5. It's tough to pick Big 12 games. Well, you picked Dave Aranda, for God's sake, against Willie Fritz of all people.
Okay, it worked. Okay, it worked with my TCU pick a week ago, so I was just going to ride it again, and obviously that just didn't work out. I don't know what else to say about that pick, but
Houston goes into Waco, closes their season with a win over Baylor. The Baylor Bears miss a bowl game. Tell me that before the season. Houston wins 31-24. The Bears lose their final 3 games of the season.
Of course.
Got smoked by Utah, smoked by Arizona. Looked like they were on the verge of getting blown out in this game. To their credit, they made it a game in the end, but Houston walks away to finish their regular season 9-3.
Yeah, I know you labeled this game, like this segment for our rundown, like Aranda missing a bowl, but I think the big story here is just Willie Fritz turning Houston around, winning 9 games this year, and that's why Houston's going to be the focus of my carbless refreshing take of the week. Connor Wegman, big bounce back game for him. Threw the ball well. Once again, led the team in rushing, 121 yards, 2 scores. The offense is something that I've been complaining about the last couple weeks for Houston. I felt like they were very consistent in this game, which was nice to see. And defensively, outside of the fourth quarter, they were excellent. They held Baylor to just 3 of 11 on third down. Didn't give up a touchdown in the first 3 quarters. And I don't think there's any doubt who the coach of the year in the Big 12 should be. Just give the damn trophy to Willie Fritz. The job he has done is just not talked about enough nationally or really even in the Big 12 for that matter. So, and I'm telling you, when he gets that program rolling, good luck because he's going to be putting Houston football back on the map. And I just don't feel like he's getting the respect again nationally that he should. Like, Houston won 9 games. They didn't make a bowl game last year. I mean, it's almost like, I guess you can see it because Arizona and Brent Brennan are kind of a similar story. But where Houston football was at the time when he took over, like Jed Fish at least had some success at Arizona before he left to Washington. But like Houston with Dana was just a downhill program. They were so down.
They're
and
terrible.
For Willie Fritz to just come back and bring that program to life. Now, I'd still like to see some more fan support there. I think he would too, but overall, it's just an incredible job. And yeah, I guess I'll just make it quick on Baylor. Like everyone knows.
No. Let me do my Freedom Tire who needs a fix, and then I'll let you share your thoughts on Baylor. Freedom Tire.
Go ahead.
Locations all across the metro. Ames, Altoona, Des Moines, West Des Moines, Urbandale. If you're driving around on old tires right now, you're a moron. We've got 8 inches of snow on the ground. You should have hit Freedom Tire long ago, but it's not too late. Head on over to your local Freedom Tire if you need new tires, an oil change, any general car maintenance. We appreciate Freedom Tire for telling us who needs fixed, and it's freaking Baylor. Get rid of Dave Aranda. It is not too late. It's not too late. Okay. They've got this fella by the name of Jamarian Carlton. 4-star recruit, D lineman. Big deal. That's a really big deal. He flipped to Texas after this game. If this 4-star recruit can flip his commitment, can go back on his word, guess what, Baylor? You can do the same. You don't need to bring back Dave Aranda. I don't care what direction you go in. I'm sorry you lost Eric Morris already. There has to be another option. You cannot go into 2026 with Dave Aranda as the head football coach of your program because you're just setting your program back already. There's no momentum. There's no more moves he can make. There's no assistant he can bring in. There's no player in the portal that's going to fix this. Baylor is destined for mediocrity if they stick with Dave Aranda, and it is not too late to go back on your word of saying that we are sticking with Dave Aranda for the future.
Yeah, but he's a Christian man, and he has good values for Baylor.
I'm sure he is, and I'm sure he's a really nice guy, and I'm sure he's a great coach to play for. But guess what? Good recruits, good transfers, they want to play for winners. They also want to play in front of fans. And if you bring back Aranda, there's not going to be fans in the stands next year. A change needs to be made. That's all.
I believe I read something about the recruit, and he really loved Dave Aranda. So the fact that he's just completely switched schools tells you everything you need to know about it. And obviously everybody knows how I feel about it. And I just thought about I don't know if there's any coach that comes into the season on the hot seat. You finish 5-7, and you get to keep your job. I mean, I'm sure he's happy because the checks, as I say, keep clearing. And
why would he be mad?
It just shows that Baylor is just not a serious program right now. Keeping him after this says you pretty much are throwing the towel in for next season too. Because we're going to be having the same conversation at this time next year. So, you know what they should do, Jake, and I thought about this. If he's going to clean house with his staff, I think he should bring in Brian Ferentz as his offensive coordinator. Let's just burn this whole thing to the ground.
Can we get the cameras?
End it all in Waco.
Can we get our friends at TNT to do Hard Knocks Baylor if it's Dave Aranda and Brian Ferentz in the offensive room?
I'd pay to see that. I would pay to see that. It would just burn in flames, though.
Big picture, though. I can't believe how disappointing this Baylor offense was all year long. Look at their last 3 games, the outputs from their offense: 24 points, 17 points, 28 points. They lost scoring 20 against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a really suspect defense. This should have been one of the best offenses in the conference, if not the best, with Sawyer Robertson, with Bryson Washington, Josh Cameron, Michael Trigg, Knighton. They have so many weapons and pretty much nothing to show for it. That's, I think, the most disappointing part for me. If you would have told me, Baylor went 5-7 this year because their defense gave up 45 points a game, I would have said, yeah, that makes sense. If you had told me they did it because they couldn't score more than 28 points in 5 of their 6 Big 12 losses, I would have said that is devastating, and that has to be the last nail in the coffin for Aranda.
Yeah, one would think, but he's still alive. He's still here. I just, I don't even know what to say about it anymore. We're going to keep beating a dead horse.
The team that took their potential next coach, Eric Morris, Oklahoma State, made a hire this week. They close out their regular season with a 20-13 loss at home to the Cyclones of Iowa State. The Clones finish 8-4. This game was ugly. It was like pulling teeth. It was a root canal. I did the Cyclone Fanatic post-game show. Aiden was there. Leah Nelson, Chris Williams. We were all just kind of ready for it to be over when it was over. And this felt like the Arkansas State game. This felt like what the Colorado game should have felt like. And Iowa State, to their credit, walk out of there with a win, even if it wasn't pretty. They do it, and there wasn't too much doubt in the fourth quarter. There was a little bit of doubt, but not a ton.
I always say just a win's a win. And I know Oklahoma State was, 1-10 coming in, but they were, not playing terrible football. Nearly beat Kansas State and UCF on the road last week, and that's a team that very easily could have rolled over and died, but they haven't so far. So I will give some credit to Doug Meacham and his staff, but this game was all about Iowa State. It was an odd, windy day in Stillwater, and Iowa State just leaned on the run game. They almost had 50 rushing attempts. It wasn't the prettiest win by any means, as you would like to say, but a win on the road is never easy in the Big 12, and I think the other thing is, too, you end the year on a 3-game winning streak. You finish 8-4. Given the injuries that this team has dealt with, I don't know how somebody could really be pissed off about an 8-win season. Should they have beaten Colorado? Yes. Should they have beaten BYU? Probably so. But you can't be too mad with 8 wins, which, by the way, Matt Campbell has now done 5 times, 5 8-plus win seasons. He's finished above 500 in Big 12 play for the 8th time in 10 years. Got his 50th Big 12 win, joining Bob Stoops, Mike Gundy, Bill Snyder, and Mac Brown as the only coaches in the history of the Big 12 to reach 50 wins. That is a pretty damn cool stat, and I think at this point you just have to have somebody start funding that statue outside of Jack Trice.
Yeah, this year probably looks a lot different if you even just beat Colorado. Like that.
Yeah. Well,
that loss aged so poorly, and it felt so bad at the time, and it somehow felt worse week after week after week. But you're right. 8-4, it's not a success. If anything, it's probably a slight disappointment. But if 8-4 is a slight disappointment in Ames, Iowa,
pretty good.
Matt Campbell has raised the standard, and fans should be able to feel disappointed if they want to feel disappointed. I got to give out my Beast of the Week. It's going to Caleb Bacon. He has earned my Beast of the Week.
Beast of the Week.
All right, it's not like it was some world-beating offense on the other side, but Caleb Bacon finishes the day with 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 7 tackles. Bacon broke his leg the first drive of the season in 2024. Maybe didn't put together the numbers all season that some expected, but I think he played really, really good football down this final 3-game stretch for the Cyclones, and it was really cool to see Bacon have his moment today in Stillwater. With numbers like that, it wouldn't be shocking at all to see him walk away with Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week. And we also found out on Tuesday that Bacon will be returning for another season in Ames. That's a big deal when you consider what Cooper Ebel, his fellow linebacker, has done this season. Also, Cale Berzina's really come on at the end of last year. Again, it's looking like Iowa State, led by some stars, some leaders on defense. They're getting a lot of guys back. It looks like there's going to be a lot of momentum for this defense heading into the 2026 season, and Caleb Bacon is certainly towards the top of that list the way that he has played down the stretch.
I really like the makeup of where you think this team could be next year with just, as you mentioned, bringing so many guys back for next season. I think next year is a team, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but we're going to be talking about a 10-win team next year.
I hope you're right. Monsters Beast. You can find it at your local gas station, local liquor store. You got 4 flavors, 6% alcohol content. Drink responsibly, but more importantly, drink it when you're feeling like a beast, like Caleb Bacon felt coming home from Stillwater today.
I think next weekend on our show, I'll probably crack one of those open. I was able to actually get 2 of them. I believe I got two for $6 at the my local gas station. So I picked
We're doing
up
an evening show
them.
next week, I believe. So that'll be an appropriate time to do it.
Exactly. So be a great time to do it.
Kansas State, against all odds, is off to a bowl game. They beat Colorado at home, 24-14. What do you got to say about this game? This was another ugly game in Manhattan.
I think it's just the weather. The snow games, the rainy games, the cold, windy. You name it. It was one of those.
Well, and we know how
games.
hard it is for Kansas State to win at home in the snow.
That's very true.
Nearly impossible.
Sleepy game, light crowd, bad opponent. Tied game at halftime, which I thought was really interesting because I think about if this game goes the other way, if Chris Kleiman loses to Colorado, they finish 5-7. I think that hot seat talk would definitely ramp up pretty quick no matter how many crocodile tears he'd shed. But that didn't happen. Joe Jackson, for the second week in a row, goes off, and that's why he's going to be my monster Beast of the Week.
Beast of the Week.
Mr. Joe Jackson, ladies and gentlemen, 142 yards, 3 scores, and Colorado had no answer for my guy this week. They didn't stand a chance, and it wasn't just like the home run threat that we've seen. He was just consistent on the ground with each carry, and unlike in that Utah game where he just broke off big run after big run, I thought he was really, really consistent on the ground for them. It's safe to say, Kansas State does not miss Dylan Edwards anymore. They have found their guy with Joe Jackson, and if not for Utah beating them last week, I think he probably would have been my Beast of the Week last week too. So in the game like this and the kind of weather conditions that they had, I'm really glad that they kept the ball on the ground. And when you have a guy like Joe Jackson toting the rock for you, very smart to just keep feeding him because I feel like he's one of those guys who just keeps getting better with more touches.
They've certainly got some questions to answer in the offseason. It's going to be
true
the most important offseason so far of the Chris Kleiman era. Their fans are fed up. They need answers next year. They need results. And beating Colorado's not going to do anything, but making a bowl game in a season like this is certainly better than missing a bowl game. So Kansas State, they'll probably get to enjoy a nice balmy day in Shreveport or something like that, and that'll be good.
I think
they'll enjoy that.
The practice is going to be key for them, especially that's a team that's dealt with a ton of injuries, so getting healthy is going to be important for that team too.
Yes, keeping Avery Johnson, keeping Jace Brown, keeping other key players, that is going to be very, very important for Kansas State this season, and we'll see how it all goes this transfer portal cycle. And we'll close with TCU blowing out Cincinnati.
Ooh.
Woof. Cincinnati closes the season.
Oh.
Not great. They finished the year 7-5. They were 7-1 at one point. Lose 4 in a row to Utah, Arizona, BYU, TCU. Granted, those are 4 of the top 7-8 teams in the conference. But for the second year in a row, Cincinnati closes the year really weak and not a good finish for September Satterfield at all.
Yeah, I'll say this. I'll get to Satterfield here in a minute, but I'll say this for TCU. Watching that game, that was the version of TCU's offense that I felt like we've been missing for a while now.
Pretty much all year. Since that North Carolina game.
Yeah, look how bad North Carolina ended up being. Yeah. That's probably why. But when they played that well offensively, they're going to be a very hard team to outscore. Josh Hoover, game of maybe his career, 300-plus yards, 4 touchdown passes. TCU puts up over, 540 yards of offense. Even ran the ball for over 200 yards. So they're running the ball a little bit better lately. Just when they're firing, and then, of course, Eric McAllister, they're one of the best receivers in the Big 12. They have plenty of weapons and talent on that offense. So it's kind of a shame that they weren't kind of more involved in the Big 12 title picture. But got to switch it over to Cincinnati here, and they're going to be the focus of my Freedom Tire Who Needs a Fix. Starting 7-1 this year, the Bearcats have now dropped their 4th straight game. They're going to finish 7-5, which seems like a massive disappointment after yet another disappointing November. And keep in mind, Cincy did not win a game in November last year, and now this year they go winless in November. And as Jake here likes to call Satterfield, September Satterfield, it's because his record in the month of November at Cincinnati now falls to 1-11. Oh. That's got to change, or else he's going to be gone next season. If they don't win a game in November in 2026, that's 3 years in a row without a win in November.
That's not setting the bar that high.
It's not. It's really not. So you have to go. Something's got to change there because this team, for the last 3 years now, just falls off a cliff. I mean, last year they weren't that great to begin with, but didn't they get off to a 5-2 start last year, I believe it was?
Yeah.
And they lost 5 in a row.
They started strong in 2023 also. I remember when Iowa State went out there in mid-October. I think they were underdogs. That was a tough spot, and they didn't win too many games after that.
I don't know what's going on there, but that's definitely got to change.
Well, did you see the report that Brendan Sorsby might be shopping himself in the transfer portal this offseason?
I don't blame him.
Didn't sound too good.
I mean, not like his team. Its defense is not great. This is the second year in a row with him as a starting quarterback where they fall off a cliff. I'm not saying it's his fault, but still, he wants to change scenery. I don't blame him.
He was pretty good tonight, but it's not like he's either been playing the best game of the best football of his life in November either. The last 2 years, he has really struggled.
Yep.
Kind of dating back to the Oklahoma State game, which doesn't really count. Everyone should play well against Oklahoma State, but Baylor didn't have a great game. Didn't play well at all against Utah. Looking at the stats, had a bad day against Arizona. I don't know. I know we talked about this last week. I don't know if there's anything to the way that he plays that it wears on his body over the course of the year. And the more he gets hit, the worse he plays. But Sorsby was not the same down the stretch as he was when they were the hottest team in the Big 12 in early October.
I think the frustrating part of it is too, like especially earlier this year, you see flashes of his greatness. Like you can see it there. It's not consistent, and as you're right, it just as the year goes on, it kind of I don't know if teams are kind of just figuring him out more, but it just does get worse and worse and worse. So maybe a change of scenery is not the worst thing for him.
He didn't have a turnover in Big 12 play until November 1st. He finished Big 12 play with 5 turnovers. So he went from none in 5 games to 5 in 4 games. That's not going to win you football games.
Yeah, but I don't feel like that's too crazy, though. But
over the course of the year, he definitely regressed to the mean. Well, that was a lot of Big 12 football. Let's get into our random Big 12 quarterback with esteemed producer Hayden Wyatt. We're gonna have We're gonna have to hope he doesn't hit the portal, put himself on the open market this offseason, because I mean, Duke and I have to make some money, right?
If you pick another Iowa State quarterback, we will put you in the portal ourselves.
I think now is a good time to announce that I am not leaving. Thank you. As Forrest Gump said, that's all I have to say about that. This Big 12 quarterback finished in the top 5 all-time for passing in the Big 12. The guy who never was. Spent time at 2 different Big 12 schools, had over 150 total touchdowns in his career, and over 15,000 yards.
Baker Mayfield.
Total yards.
Yeah,
it's Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, it's Baker Mayfield. That's the first thing I thought of.
That's Texas Tech legend, Baker Mayfield.
It's one of those pictures that looks haunted.
Yeah,
it could have been so good. I
was hoping to trick you guys with the non-Oklahoma thing.
Oh yeah,
yeah, but the stat line you said was just absurd.
Yeah,
I love Baker.
He had 2 crazy stats for me.
I absolutely love Baker.
I do too. I loved him at Oklahoma.
I loved him at Oklahoma. I love watching him now.
Yeah,
I love watching him for the Bucks.
I think just that whole situation, I can remember it that whole situation at Texas Tech was just so weird. The fact that they never, Cliff Kingsbury never offered him a scholarship. How do you not keep the guy on? How do you start a guy every other week and you're not going to be on scholarship? You're not going to put him on scholarship? It just made no sense to me whatsoever. Crazy.
It's not like that guy needed a chip on his shoulder.
No. It was that's another one of those things, what if? And now Texas Tech doesn't even acknowledge that he existed if you go back there now.
Let's move on to our Big 12 Top 5 Power Rankings, brought to you by Whiskey River, Whiskey River is always a good time, but once the Christmas season rolls around, it is a good time to get elfed up.
Merry Christmas.
Whiskey River.
That's a dang good deal. Buy a $50 gift card, get $10 free.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone could use a Whiskey River gift card for Christmas. And if you do that, you get a free beer out of it.
I was thinking about, I told you guys this, I stayed out so late last night. I was super hungover this morning. Still a little bit tired, but I was thinking to myself, what would have been really good? Just a good burger from Whiskey River. I had that jalapeno burger from there that was so damn good. That would have been the perfect thing to help cure my hangover.
Whiskey River locations in Ankeny names. They bring us our Big 12 Top 5 Power Rankings. I'm going to start. It's pretty simple for me. Same top 4 as last week, but I just bump Houston in for Arizona State following their win. Texas Tech, BYU, Utah, Arizona, Houston. pretty easy for me.
I think this is going to be the first time all season long where we have the exact same top 5. The exact same top 5.
I don't really know how else you could have done it.
Yeah, after this, you're right. It's Texas Tech 1. BYU's got to be number 2. Utah's still the firm team there at 3. Arizona gets bumped up to 4, which I think that's probably the highest I believe I've ever had them in my rankings. And last week I brought back Houston in my top 5, so they're going to remain there as well. But yeah, pretty easy week for us as far as the top 5 goes.
It was a pretty freaking easy week for all of our Big 12 survivors. We didn't have anyone lose. Nobody. So we've got over 100 people heading into the Big 12 championship week.
Just like
again, how we're going to decide this is next week. You're just going to pick BYU or Texas Tech. I'll send out an email. We'll have a little poll for that. And it's 50-50.
Somebody pick BYU. Somebody do it.
Well, let's say 5 people pick BYU and they pull the upset. You and 4 other people are heading to bowl season, just going head-to-head with each other. So
that'd be crazy.
It doesn't matter if you've picked this team before this season. All of that resets. None of that matters at this point. It is just BYU or Texas Tech. Once we get to bowl season, it'll be, do you want Kansas State or Army? Do you want Iowa State or Nebraska? And then we'll just go until hopefully we have one person left.
Do you want to give away your pick now?
I'll take Texas Tech. Actually, I'll take BYU just for the fun of it.
Are you serious?
Just to go against the masses. I think Texas Tech is going to win, but this is more of a strategy play of if BYU pulls the upset, and then it's just me and 8 other people, I've got a better chance of winning than if I'm going against 95 people during bowl season.
I think you're picking BYU because you're opting out of bowl season. You're opting out of the bowl games. That's why you're picking BYU. You don't want to do the bowl games. I see you.
Yeah, this season.
Is Jake entering the portal? He's opting out of bowl season?
Yeah,
this season's been long. I'm tired. I don't know if I want to do 20 more practices. Don't want to get hurt in a meaningless game.
For the record, I'm taking Texas Tech, and I'm looking forward to bowl season.
Shocker.
It's an exciting time.
Iowa trivia time with Aiden.
You guys are going to love this one.
Oh, gosh. Is it something Wade?
Iowa is already home to the world's largest strawberry, the world's largest popcorn ball, the world's largest wooden nickel, and it is now home to the world's tallest round-handed brick trowel. How tall is it? Marshalltown unveiled this about 2 weeks ago. Here's that bad boy. Look at that. She's a Butte Clark. It's world's tallest right there.
How tall is it?
How tall is it?
Okay. I'm going to say 20 feet.
I was going to say 40.
Right on the middle. 32.
Damn, closer to me.
2 feet tall.
Yep. I guess unless we go Price is Right, then Duke wins.
Yeah, right.
Because I went over.
That's true. That is pretty cool. You know, I was fidgeting around, Aiden. Was there a question that we did about, was it a cow or something? Or was it a bull? It was like the largest bull. How much did it weigh?
Yeah.
I've had the old bull. Now I want the young calf.
You want the young calf? I can't remember, but I just was like scrolling through like realtor.com or whatever, just like looking at land in Iowa. And like I found like 5 acres, like it had to be less than like a quarter, maybe a half mile from that damn bull. And I go, what the? I was like, where have I seen this before?
Is it Albert or something?
It's Albert, yeah. I thought that was so damn funny. I was just laughing my ass off for about 5 minutes thinking of that.
Wait, so you were looking at this and one of the draws was like, hey, it's within a quarter mile of Albert the bull.
Yeah, I can't
within
remember.
a mile of the 560-pound bull.
I don't remember the town's name. It starts with an A. It's west of Des Moines. I can't remember the town's name. It's like
it was one that Jake knew.
Audubon?
Was it Audubon? Yeah, it was from where your dad was from, I remember. Or something.
Well, no, so my dad's from Auburn, which often gets confused with Audubon.
Well, there's another one. Add me to the list.
Trust me, if there was the world's largest bowl in Auburn, Iowa, I would know about it. There's 190 people in Auburn.
Well, if you are looking for land, it's some cheap land out there. We'll say that.
Out in Audubon. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Duke, have fun in Arlington. Be sure to hit up.
To the road.
What's that restaurant called? Oh, why am I blanking on it? There's a fine establishment. One sec. I've got it in my notes. I went there with Mark Freund. Bombshells. Oh, it's a fine establishment. Be sure to go get some good wings.
I'm good. I got my spots up there. Yeah.
Have fun in the capital city, or not the capital city, the big city. It's the capital of America's team now. Tell Jerry Jones
Jesus
hello.
Christ.
Have fun at the game though. That's what's important. I wish I could be there.
I should piss on the
next year.
midfield logo if the Dallas Cowboys logo's there. That's what I should have done, but
Gonna do the podcast from jail the next day?
it'd be an interesting show.
Wouldn't be the first time, right?
No comment.
We'll be back next week. We'll have a Sunday night show reacting to bowl games, the college football playoff, the Big 12 championship, all that good stuff. And we'll do it right here in the Channel Seed Studios. Thanks for joining us here for Bigger Than 12.